Hi, I'm Marian. Welcome. Have you ever wondered about orbs, light orbs, those balls of light that people have experienced inside their homes, outside their homes, high in the sky, low in the sky? Well, I have experienced them, and I want to tell you about how I believe that experience came to me. Now, I've been planning on this video for some time, quite some time. So it's interesting that it's corresponding with the recent events in New Jersey and across the country where people are experiencing what they're calling drones. Some call them orbs. You could call them UAPs, UFOs. But so that was surely by accident that I'm making this video now while that is going on. But I want to tell you about how I think this experience came to me, this very extraordinary experience, the first one in 2012. I live in Missouri, and I ran a newspaper for many years, and I wrote articles about, interesting things in our region. And I heard about herds of wild horses. Yes, we have herds of wild horses in Missouri. And I went down south, way south in the Ozarks, to find them and write a story about them. So I was staying at a cabin high on a hill, way off the main blacktop road, a couple of miles. It was a beautiful, beautiful spot. And I wasn't alone, thank goodness, because I think that having someone with me adds credibility to my story. So that really did happen. So when we arrived, it was a beautiful place, beautiful cabin that overlooks the Current River. It's called the Current River here in Missouri, and we walked through the woods, and just there was a little bit of weather, and it was just such a beautiful spot. And we went back to the cabin and cooked dinner, and we were sitting on a porch and overlooking this beautiful valley and river. It was at night, and I just threw out a crazy idea to my friend. I said, I want to experience something, all right, like non-human, but a loving divine being that, I didn't want to be frightened. So I said, I'd really like for this to start way out there at the tree line, and giving us the opportunity to get used to it. I had no idea what it might be, or what form it would show up in. And then I wanted it to slowly come forward into the yard, into this beautiful manicured yard. Even though we were way out in the woods, it was, really well-kept area. And I didn't want it to just show up on this porch and frighten us. And my friend said, hey, I'm in. And that was the end of that conversation. We just let it go. And I want to add that we were really feeling good. We had just walked a labyrinth at night. The owners of this cabin had a labyrinth constructed, and I was walking the labyrinth. We were both walking the labyrinth, and I was thinking about having an unusual experience. This was prompted by a friend of mine who claimed, and I believe, had an experience with an extraterrestrial. I thought, wow, I'd like to have that experience as well. So back to the porch. We finished talking about the experience that we wanted to have. We let it go. We went on to another conversation, and really within a minute, I saw a flash over my shoulder up in the trees at this tree line. And I said, did you see that? And she said, I did. And suddenly another orb, I'll call it a ball of light, appeared on the other side of the tree line. Both these orbs now are on the other side of the tree line from where we were. And they were going down into the, behind the trees, they were going down and up. And then suddenly there were more orbs. And we weren't able to determine their size because they were on the other side of the tree line. So there was no relationship to something else. And then more arrived and more, and they would flash on and off and down behind the trees and up. And then they were inside the tree, this tree line, and we could get a better idea of how large they were. Maybe with my hands, maybe bigger than a softball, maybe this big. And they were, I will say white, but they were light. And some of them, though, were sort of orange, and one was red. And then they came in front of the tree line, just as we had talked about. And again, blinking on and off and going down and blinking up. And there was one that was kind of reddish orange. It was larger and it shot off this way. And this went on, at least an hour. Well, after about an hour of this, and again, they were coming forward, just as we talked about. And just as my friend and I had talked about, just, an hour earlier. And suddenly, one very large orb glided to us and went right around the cabin. I would say, I don't know feet, but very well, or yards, or 12 feet, I'm guessing. And it flew around the cabin and out of sight. And now my friend and I are standing, hugging each other, going, "Are you getting scared?" It was getting a little unnerving, although I loved the experience. And at some point we just went into the cabin and went to bed. So, and of course we talked about it for quite a long time. It was quite extraordinary. And people have since asked me if I, took pictures or video, and it did not even occur to us. It was so fantastic an experience. It just didn't enter our minds. So the next morning, we walked over to the owner's house, which was not too far away, and we were telling them about our experience. And they were open to hearing it. They weren't looking at us like we had four heads. And so we talked about it for a while. And of course they said, could it have been a flashlight? And, our fireflies. And we exhausted every possibility that we could at what they could have been. But the numbers of them were so great. I mean, it just couldn't have been fireflies or flashlights or anything like that. If I had to estimate a number, I don't know that I could. I would say a minimum of 30. It could have been 50. It was just too many to count, and they would flash on and off. So this is the next day after we had talked to the owners and asked them if they'd ever experienced anything like it. We went on a hunt for the wild horses, and after which we took a inner tube float on the river and just had a great day. And we couldn't wait to get back to the cabin and to see if we could experience those beautiful light orbs again. So that evening after dinner, the owner, the wife, the owner of the cabin, she walked up to spend some time with the girls, and the three of us sat together on the porch and had a beautiful conversation. And honestly, and we talked about the orbs, not a minute after she left, the orbs came back. And I've thought about this, for several years. How did this happen? Why did it happen? And why did it stop or why did it happen again after this woman left? And I have an idea of why this happened. My friend and I, when we arrived at the cabin, we were on cloud 9. We were so happy to be there. It was so beautiful. We were both spiritually minded people, metaphysically minded, and it just was such a exciting, beautiful experience. And hunting for the wild horses was of course fun, and I did find the wild horses, and I will make a video about that at some point and show you all of the beautiful wild horses here in Missouri. But what I think is that she and I were at such a high emotional or, level, equal to a divine, beautiful experience. And the neighbor, the owner of the cabin, while a very nice and lovely person, was a little bit, I would just say a little bit on the negative side. And I don't think she was conducive to, or her level of, let's call it joy, frequency, vibration, was at that level at that time. Immediately after she left, the orbs came back. It was just like immediately. And there must be a correlation of some kind there. But it was an absolutely wonderful, wonderful experience. I did experience the orbs again at another time, again at that cabin. So I wrote this story about the wild horses, and I included a little bit about the orbs, not a lot, but it was surprising, the people who contacted me after, that story ran in the paper. So anyway, thank you. I would really like to know if you've had experiences with orbs, or if you would like more information about our experience. I think I've told you most of what I know, but I did have another experience with them that I will tell you about. It involved a UAP or UFO, so that has me wondering as well. So thank you. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and thank you.